Hey everyone, I'm Coach Wolverine, and this is Coach Kelowna. Welcome to another conversation over drinks. And today we were having a little discussion before, being here on TV about qualifications versus experience and why we're pulled to either.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that we run into, or one of the things that you'll hear when it comes to sport or when it comes to like business, things like that, it's always like, okay, like I want what that guy has, or I want to look like that guy in the gym or whatever, but would you want to go learn from him directly or go learn from who coached them? Yeah. Right, is how I look at that. So like if you're looking for someone that just has things, yes, you can learn a lot of stuff from that person because they've done it. But the person that taught them has more experience building people or building those things as well. So the experience that comes into, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, so that experience is crucial, not to discredit qualifications or anything that you would want, is some disciplines and all that, there are formal certifications that are absolutely necessary.
Yes, of course, like being a doctor or something like that.
Anything like that, right? Like anytime you're dealing with someone that has, or dealing with something that has a massive impact on someone that needs to be regulated, then obviously. But when it comes to certification in the coaching world, fitness, I know people that have massive amounts of certifications, but they don't have any clients that they've worked with.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've noticed a lot of is, especially in the personal development industry, is that there are a ton of people out there that claim to be coaches of some sort, claim to be an expert, but isn't, the last time I checked, anyways, to be an expert is 10,000 hours worth of time invested into one particular subject. And I remember when I first started coaching, the amount of people that would be sliding into my DMs trying to say that, hey, I'm a sales expert or a sales funnel expert, and I'm going to lead you to that 10K a month in 6 months or whatever. And they would have all of his credentials and whatnot. But you could tell for a fact that they weren't making 10K a month themselves.
No, and then that's such like a magic number when, especially if you want to stick with the coaching stuff. Like the 10K a month is what everyone's like, oh, $10,000 a month, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. So it's a buzzword to pull us in. And in reality, all of those things, every pitch that we've heard or anyone wants to be, it's them trying to create a brand, and then the brand is to create a client, and that's when you start talking about like marketing and how we get caught up in that kind of scheme of things. I know like when I'm at the store and we're selling supplements, again to stick with the fitness industry, you can take 4 or 5 different supplements and you do this too at the store, and they're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's that question, what's the best one? Whatever one's going to make you do the work.
Yeah, and it's going to be chosen based on whether it's their preconceived notion of it being the best, the brand loyalty, the this name, then that name, the shirt looks cool, whatever. Yep. They're going to pick it for something that's intangible. Yeah. So when you go looking for someone who, if you're looking for a service, whether it's coaching, whether it's somewhere else, the intangibles is what separates A from B. Because if everyone has the same certification, or if everyone applying for a job has the same everything, it's the intangibles that you hire. It'd be the intangibles that you would go seek a service from someone else. And a lot of that is going to come from experience because they know how to connect with people and they know how to like move their knowledge from one place to another. Yeah. You can have all the knowledge you want, but if you don't have the ability to actually like facilitate the transfer of that knowledge to someone else, I don't just like using the term teach, because teaching in the formal aspect is like, hey, here's a bunch of info, here's a test, you passed, here's a piece of paper, have a nice day. That's not transferring knowledge. Transferring knowledge is giving someone the tools to eventually be able to do it on their own.
Yeah. What if we look at it from the other end of people who collect all of these certifications and degrees and whatnot because they're actually afraid to start?
I was just going to say it's because they're afraid that they need something else to get started.
They feel like they need to be an expert before they actually start, but in hindsight, we have to actually do the work and get the experience to become said expert So then we create that busy work. And I'll be the first to admit, when I first started coaching, I was horrible for this. I probably have over 30 different certifications I don't use. But when I first started, I thought that, ooh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be useful. This could be a useful tool. And in reality, I coach the vast majority from the experience, other than some of them, maybe the psychology cues. But most of it is purely from experience and what I've gone through and how I've learned how to use the tools that I have.
You're not going to learn how to work with people if you don't work with people, right? So like unless you're doing like a practicum type thing, which doesn't really exist in these certifications we're talking about, you're not getting that actual like personal interaction or the reality of it. You have a checklist of things you can go through, and if that's your style of learning, then cool. Lucky you get to learn a lot from these and you can go out and apply it, but a lot of us can't. So for me, like looking at someone that like they've got a lot of successes, but they also have like a handful of like failures, especially early on, that's the kind of progression I'd like to look for.
Yeah. Well, it's also a matter of going to someone for the guidance who has actually done what you're looking to achieve.
Yeah. Right.
To just kind of wrap that up with a nice bow.
Proof of concept would be
proof of the concept, yeah. But that's there's actually an analogy that goes with that I use with my clients all the time. Is if I was to hand you a book on how to ride a unicycle and you read this cover to cover, would you actually know how to ride the unicycle, or would you have to jump on the unicycle,
try it out and get better at it?
Exactly, and give it some practice before you're actually able to ride said unicycle.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like I don't want to sit here and like discredit certifications and stuff like that, because there's a lot that have their place, and for a lot of us they need that foundation. But for anyone that's like stockpiling certifications in, whether it's like fitness, health, whatever, do something to use it. Like if it's all there for a purpose, and transferring knowledge from yourself or transferring your experiences to other people to help everybody get better is the whole reason we do all this stuff, right? You don't want to be a coach if you don't want to make people better. You don't want to be a trainer if you don't want to help people get better. So knowledge transfer, or whatever term you want to use, is like the end of it all. And if you never go out and fail a little bit to actually get that personal part, then all you're doing is making a bunch of other people who have gotten to the point where they can put a course on money that you're not going to ever see again.
Yeah, I actually just had a conversation with one of my friends this week, he's an online coach, and he's a really intelligent dude, and he's competed in bodybuilding, and he's placed very, very well. And he was telling me how much he charged, and I'm like, dude, that's like a tenth of what you should be charging. And he had told me, he's like, well, I don't have these certifications. I don't have that. I'm like, who are you comparing yourself to?
Yeah.
Right? You have X amount of years worth of experience. You've actually competed.
And results, right?
Right. So on the flip side of that too is like, if you have the experience, don't hold yourself back purely because you don't have that piece of paper that says that you're good at something, because you never know. If there is a market out there for you, and there's people that will connect. Right, the simplest thing to do is just start. We can figure it out as we go. We are quite resilient and resourceful as human beings, and our brain is pretty fantastic at figuring things out.
And the cool thing is when you're passionate about it, you're gonna be okay with failing.
Yeah.
Right. So like you might be passionate about learning and collecting stuff. That's great. But like if you're passionate about getting that knowledge out and reaching as many people as you can and benefiting as many people as you can, then you have to be okay with failure in a sense, because not everybody you're going to work with is going to work out.
No.
And not like you can try and put your stop blocks in with like whatever you want to do, whether it's price, commitment periods, and all that other stuff. But like you're never going to be able to have 100% success.
No.
And you're going to feel bad about every single one that doesn't do well, right?
Yeah.
That's another reason why like I'm not a big fan of things like blanket programs, right? Like if you have a program, you give it to 100 people, the reality is 5 people are going to see results. And that's That's just it. If it's the exact same program, and then you're going to get like your tiers of like great results, which will be 5, medium results, which may be 10 to 15, and the rest of them are going to see next to no results, and they'll blame you because of it. When in reality, they weren't coached to have the effort to understand why they were doing it. All right, like you can give someone a really bad program with 100% effort, they're going to get better results than the best program ever with no buy-in, almost every time. So that's where you have to be okay with some people not succeeding.
There's an emotional commitment to it there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then in addition to that is don't use education as busy work to not start.
On either end, right? Don't use it as a crutch to hold you back, and don't use it as a crutch to like prop yourself up. If you're not getting people results or you're not sharing anything, you're not providing a value to anyone else.
You can only coach somebody as far as you yourself or as us ourselves have actually personally developed. You can't bring yourself, or you can't coach anybody further than that.
No, you can give them tools and they can go out and do it on their own, but that's out of your hands.
Yeah, man.
But that's it on that part. If you're passionate about it, you're okay with some failure, but the long-term success is what you want to look for in the people that you work with and connect with. And I think that just needs to be held up. If they don't have that, if they didn't pass that test, but the last 20 people they worked with are doing great, you're probably going to want to go say hi.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Well, I don't have much more to add to that one.
No, that's it, man. Thanks. I appreciate you letting me talk about that because that's one that I've brought up a couple times. I know that. So, but that's it for this week. If you have any comments or questions, or you're thinking about doing something and you're the one step away, or you think that one piece of information is going to make it possible, and you want to just talk about it, feel free to let us know, and we'd love to have that chat. Maybe we can give you a little kick to get you started.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. Share.